Full Service Radio is proudly supported and hosted by Simplecast, the easiest way for a podcast creator to publish and distribute audio on the internet. For more information, visit simplecast.com.
Peace and welcome to the Edible Activist Podcast. I'm your host, Melissa L. Jones, broadcasting live from the lobby of the Line, D.C. On this show, you hear from the voices of dynamic Black people and people of color in the agriculture, food justice, and healing space as they share empowering food narratives and perspectives that stem from the land, all while exemplifying the spirit of activism in their own edible way. Let's get started. Well, I am just excited to sit here with the both of you all. So I'm actually in Clinton, Maryland, guys. This is Melissa L. Jones here with the Edible Activist Podcast. And I decided to pay my dear friend Chae, the homie from high school.
What up, what up, what up?
And her mom, who I affectionately call Mama Jacky. Okay, I just have to. And so what made my way up here is that, well, first, I haven't seen them in forever. But then secondly, you know, they got into gardening this past summer, and which is nothing new to them, but, you know, this was the first time in a while that they said, you know what, let's get in the backyard and let's, you know, build some garden beds and let's start to grow. And so what everyone else has been doing at the start of pandemic, it's really been, you know, forcing them to get outside and grow food and just really, you know, taking advantage of that outdoor time since everyone is tethered and isolated to their homes. And so one day I was on Facebook and I saw Chae like with a bounty of cucumbers and everything.
Stunting on the ground.
And stunting on the ground. I said, wait a minute, where mom?
Exactly.
No, she's at proximity. And I just think it's amazing to just see how many people are like popping up in my feed and people who are texting me saying, Melissa, I've been growing stuff. And it's really been, you know, yes, the pandemic sucks. But at the same time, they have just been hitting the ground literally and planting seeds. And so I just want to come up here and do an exploration and just dive into, what has the experience been like since you all have been in the garden and growing. And I also want to preface, our conversations by, Chae and her family, they have Southern roots. So we always continuously bring this up. Black people are tied to the land, and we are going to get a bit into, mom's origins, Southern origins of the Carolinas and Virginia. And just moments ago, actually, you heard her talk about her dad. But I asked her, I was just like, Mom, have you thought about growing out in the front yard? And she was like, no. My dad used to do it this way, and this is why I won't. But I love hearing those stories because Dad had a green thumb in some type of way, and you can't, I'm sure it's hard to talk about, your own growing experience without talking about those down your lineage who grew too, because I'm sure that's what you knew. So anyway, we're just going to hop in and, Chae, I'll start with you actually.
Oh, really?
My Gemini sister.
Okay. Well, hey.
I lit up when I saw those vegetables next to you. I really just did. I was like, here go my boo.
Yeah, she feel good.
Mom. So tell me about your experience growing with Mom.
Well, we've always talked about like having like a family garden. And then I think this mommy, she's a planner, so she was talking about this stuff like maybe a year or 2 years ago, and I was like, look, this is the time to do it, so she went all out with the kill. She had a design that she designed and got some seeds and started her little journey getting the land, right, for planting. And
do you feel like it has been a relaxing experience for you and has, helped you to cope with the heaviness of the world that we are experiencing, especially as people of color?
Yeah, most definitely. It's therapeutic. Not only are we getting nutrients from something that we grew, it's actually connecting us back to the earth. We've always been kind of bohemian earth kind of people. So it's just bringing us back down to our roots, like just going out there. Sometimes I'll get in the garden if I'm helping her barefoot, just so I can be earthing, getting connected. And it has helped me mentally, spiritually, and physically. So it crosses off all the boxes for me personally.
I love it.
Yeah.
And just a note, Chae, you are boho. Boho chic. Okay. My fellow Gemini got her head wrap thing going on.
I decided to be in character.
Her hoops, right? She had to set the tone for the conversation.
I even put on a little makeup.
I absolutely love it. We'll get into what some of the things that you all grew this summer.
You want to talk about that, Mommy?
Oh, wow. Well, first of all, I guess I should start by saying it was actually hard finding plants. And I think it's because a lot of people were beginning to do it.
Yes. Yes.
And the second part of it is, and the plants that we found were really not good. They didn't look good. So we went all over. We went down to Prince Frederick County.
Everywhere in
got
Maryland.
some stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, we went to a few places. And, my cousin down south I was telling her about what I wanted to do. So she had her husband to go out and to buy me seeds. So
Wonderful.
they sent me a box of stuff.
Ton of seeds.
Yeah, which I still have some. I'll have some for next year. But the thing was, like, by the time I actually started the garden, I was waiting for Travell to build the boxes, and then I actually ordered soil. And I ordered garden soil that had all the appropriate nutrients in it and had it brought in. And because my soil in my yard is spotty, there's certain areas it's not consistent, and there's certain areas it's really, really good, and certain areas it's really bad. So I wanted to make sure if I was going to do this, I wanted to have some guarantee of level of success.
Absolutely.
So
and let me just pause for a moment, and that's so important that you say that, because the land around your house, and it's okay for some people who are struggling with that, but they know, like, I have to set the plot here because the rain may not drain a certain way, or you understand the soil quality or where it's spotty. So I'm glad that you brought that up, because that is an important part of growing.
It really is. You don't realize it.
And where the sun hits.
Yes.
And where the sun hits,
Exactly.
and then I had to look at all those factors. So I guess I would start by saying that I felt like late in starting the garden. So some of the seeds that she sent me, I couldn't plant. I couldn't plant squash because of the growing cycle. It was too late in the season, because we actually, in May, it didn't consistently get warm until mid to almost late May.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was so I had to buy plants. What do they call them?
Transplants.
Yeah, I had to buy those, a lot more of those, and a lot less seeds.
I see.
That I was able to use. So it was mostly plants and a lot less seeds. But we had quite a few. I had probably 6 or 7 maybe tomato plants, because I wanted a variety. And I did jalapenos, I did bell peppers, cucumbers, a couple different kind of cucumbers, pickling cucumbers and regular cucumbers, kale,
tomatoes.
I said tomatoes already.
My bad.
She said tomatoes.
I drifted off.
Collards, zucchini, spaghetti squash, and yellow squash, watermelon, cantaloupe, and then I did a few different kinds of herbs. Then I did broccoli, green beans. And then I did herbs. I did, we planted mint, a couple different kinds of oregano, parsley, lemon thyme, sage, and was there anything else?
Rosemary.
Oh, of course, basil and rosemary. And then, of course, I forgot that I had some chocolate mint that grew back from a couple years ago.
And when that mint grows, it grows.
Yeah, it spreads.
It does.
It spreads.
Yeah.
It does. So, it was
tea
sort of, some of the things most of the things I had never grown before, with the exception of the herbs. So it was a good experience. A lot of things I learned.
Yeah.
You know, the tomatoes wasn't that successful.
And
you know,
that's okay.
yeah.
That's okay.
We know next time for next year.
Yeah, I planted them before,
Yeah.
but this year, and the bell peppers didn't do as well. But all the other stuff did great.
Yeah.
You know, zucchini, squash, all the other stuff really did well.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I always compare agriculture to like our personal lives. Like when you think about, you know, things that didn't do well, crops that failed, I always think like, oh, that sounds like part of my life. you know?
Actually, it's a good
And,
comparison.
You know, it really is. And it's like you go through different seasons, and some seasons may be bad, some seasons may be okay, some seasons may be, you know, good. And I just feel like agriculture is consistently teaching me as a person to be patient
It really is.
and to say it's okay and to be gentle with yourself because we are part of nature, and to be gentle with the process. And, you know, I grew 1 okra this year, y'all. 1. And I'm telling you, I'll be damned. You can't tell me nothing else, okay? 1, actually 2 more coming up. I was shocked. But it's just a reminder of just how delicate we should be with ourselves.
That's so true. Very
And
true.
how we should just spend more time outside and just acknowledging, you know, that nature that surrounds us and feeds us. And so I just wanted to throw that out there. But how did it feel? Like, it feels good being able to just go outside and pick something that you grew and cook it.
Yeah.
Like,
And it tastes different. It tastes completely different from the grocery store.
It hit different when it's in your
it sure
backyard.
do. It sure does.
Yeah,
it really does.
It really does. It was great. You know, it was a great experience, I think, and I'm kind of looking forward to doing the fall garden. I really am. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
You know, but I think it helped me. Like, I didn't focus as much as some people probably did, because in talking to friends, I really didn't focus as much as they did with, you know, the media and the pandemic and all that. You know,
Mommy's not on social media,
and I'm not on social media.
Good for
I really don't. I don't care for it. I understand the necessity of it, however.
Yeah.
But, so, you know, I didn't get into a lot of that. I think it really fed my soul, so to speak.
It really did.
You know.
And then the bonding experience, too.
Yeah, and it was good for Chae and I to do
Travell
something.
and me and her.
And then, you know, like...
At first, I was like, oh my God, she has me in this darn soil.
You felt like you were in high school.
Right.
Chores.
Got me out here.
Come get the soil.
Chae, this is coming in. Chae. I'm like, oh, man. But then I was like, you know what? Once you get out there, it's very therapeutic, you know, especially for people that have health ailments or anything like that. You get out there, and like I always tell people, like, release your burdens into the soil, because like nature is definitely our protector, it's our guider, it's everything. So.
And we're protecting nature by growing too.
Yes, most definitely.
We are doing that by growing.
Yeah.
And people don't, you know, some people don't understand that. You know, when we feed the soil like really great things, like Mother Earth prospers.
Yeah.
And then when Mother Earth comes through with a tornado like she did, you know, yesterday in some parts,
sure
it's just
did.
like, oh, she's speaking to us.
Yeah.
You know? So,
I felt like she was speaking to us prior to this pandemic.
Absolutely.
Kind of slowed us down a bit.
Most
We
definitely.
got like a little refresher button.
Yeah, I think so.
It was sad, but some good did come out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess for me, it, you know, I thought back about, some of it. I thought about like my great grandmother, and I remember she had this massive vegetable garden.
Mommy said my personality is very similar to her. With the whole
was a feisty
being
woman.
there.
Yeah.
She said that's where you get it from.
Yeah, she had this massive garden, and you know, back then I was really, really a picky eater. You know, so I remember like as a little kid in the summertime, she would go out and she would like pick the vegetables in the morning, you know, and I mean, I was like her shadow. I was always up underneath her.
Yes.
And
I love that.
Yeah, but I remember like she would make, and then in the summertime, like a lot of the family from up north would come down, you know, and she would make this big pot of soup, vegetable soup, you know, and I would cry because I wouldn't eat it, because I would look over and I didn't like okra. And she had,
What, Mom?
yeah,
Okra.
I don't
and
like
she
okra.
had,
Jacky did like okra.
no, and she would have all the vegetables in it, you know, and it smelled so good and was cooking, you know, and then she would make those homemade biscuits. Yeah. And that would be what she called supper. Yeah. You know? You know, and I would cry. Because when she's like, well, I don't know what you're gonna eat, you know, I don't know what you're gonna eat.
You eat what we made.
So that's when I learned to make my own stuff, and it was like I was making like cucumber salads, and that's all I was really eating, that or tomatoes. Wow. And then I started to realize I was having a reaction from the acid. Okay. And I would get these big bumps, you know.
Yeah, so a lot of people have trouble with the acid and
Yeah. So, but it kind of sort of reminded me of that, because I remember that soup and it would smell so good. But I'm telling you, I did not do that okra. No.
That is so fun.
I didn't. I think probably everybody in my family ate okra except for me.
Me and Shannon don't. Well, Shannon does. I don't.
Shannon eats okra?
I think.
I eat okra raw, fried, boiled, sauteed, baked. Man, I love okra.
My people did too. And but I wouldn't eat it. So I would just like go over, you know, and I would make myself. You know, I mean, back then they didn't really pay any attention to you using a knife, even though I shouldn't have been using a knife.
Right. You know? A little girl with a knife. Right?
Yeah.
You were self-sufficient way back when.
Right. You know, I mean, I don't even think I was in school. No. You know. And I'm in there, you know, chunking up, because, you know, you can't slice really good, chunking up a cucumber, you know, with like, you know.
They had a home remedy for it anyway.
Yeah. So sure. Go out in your backyard and get
crazy.
Some to put on it.
But, no, I didn't eat it.
Wow.
I didn't eat it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, this was in, because your roots are in the Carolinas and Virginia.
And then the islands.
And then the islands.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Wow. What was, I want to expand more upon, you know, your origins in the South. You know, I know you remember a lot, and I just love how, you know, for those who have family wherever, but especially, you know, down South, how we, you know, carry that history with us.
Yeah, you don't even realize it.
Yeah, we do.
You don't realize it, because I know up until I retired, like, I didn't do this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
This wasn't my thing. It just wasn't. But then, like, I started, like, when I moved down here, I started, like, really liking putting my hands in the soil and how it felt and how therapeutic it felt, you know. So, you know, I started with all these flower gardens. Of course, now I want to get rid of some of them.
Mommy, hold up, pause. Mommy gets bored very easily.
I do.
Inside the home and outside the home. She has switched this place up probably like 7-8 times since she's been here.
Well, Mom has a, you know, I definitely defer to you as a designer. As you have a designer
she's
brain.
Artsy, yeah. She's very artsy.
Yes, like you're strategic as well. And I feel like when you have those traits, you're always, and you're a planner. So there's something that you always want to reconstruct, you know, take apart, pull back together, you know, and that's okay.
Yeah. I come home, things be changed. I'm like, alrighty then. Mommy went to my area and she switched my desk out. Okay. Alrighty then. Shannon, get your mama.
Gardening is design as well.
Yeah. She designed that. She, like, totally.
That is an art.
Yeah.
You know, that is an art. You know, how you lay out your garden beds and how you decide what is going to grow with one another, what pairs well. I mean, that is a form of art. That is artistry.
At its raw form.
Okay.
Literally.
Okay, Shay, snap.
But, you know, it was like, you know, it was really a wonderful experience, you know, because it, like, it gave me something to look forward to. Like, in the mornings, the first thing I would do would go outside, you know, and I would water the garden, you know, and watching it all grow. It was just a great experience. And I'm looking forward to the fall seeds. That's awesome. Planning for the fall.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I was just out there a few moments, everyone, and at the time when you're listening to this show, it might we don't know when, but I was just out there, and it's extremely beautiful. And, you know, again, I'm just, it just brings me so much joy, like, to see how many people are going back to their roots, going back to what they know. And it is so empowering to be able to just step outside and say, hey, I'm going to pick some herbs, you know, to throw into this pot of whatever I'm going to make. It is just so empowering. And it is, especially in these times where you don't know what to depend on. And like you said, I mean, even if we had to grow our own food, like indefinitely, if we had to grow our own food, right? And what you said earlier about like you couldn't find any seeds. When I was going to the grocery store months ago, I mean there were no seeds on the shelves. Like they were snatching the seeds up.
And even with the plants, I went to like Home Depot, Lowe's, you know, and we even went down to what's that, Prince Frederick County? Okay. You know, we went down there and got like a few things. But their selection, they had this huge nursery, but like their selection of, was very limited, you know, what they had. And then now I think about it, they had some things that was mislabeled. Yeah. Because I thought I was growing cauliflower and was actually jalapeno.
That's a huge mistake.
Yeah, because I still have the little thing out there. I'm like, oh, this is going to be purple cauliflower, you know, and I'm like, that doesn't look like cauliflower when it started to come in. Right. You know, and I'm like, And then I realized later that it was actually jalapeno.
Do you ever think that you all would get into like canning and doing preserves?
Yeah, I definitely see that.
I think so, because I made pickling.
Mommy does pickling,
Yes,
I've never made it before, but we had an abundance of cucumbers. And so I did. I just didn't go through the process of, I guess, the whole process of canning to preserve them. Okay. So I just did some and put them in the refrigerator, and like I gave Shannon some, and I may have given Tasha or some other people some, you know. But I liked it, and that reminded me of my great grandmother, because I remember she used to do that, and I think I even shared with Chae how I remember her making dried fruit in the summer. And I remember that they would take apples. You know, back then, people of color would share whatever they had on their land.
Yes.
You know, and
because we shared.
We still share. Hold up. Not then. We still share.
But you know, and so they would give you, like, you know, she didn't have fruit trees, but other people had fruit trees. So they would, in the summer, she would be like peeling apples. And I remember peeling all these apples and putting them in salted water. And I'm laughing because it's like, God, I haven't thought about this stuff in forever. You know what I mean? These memories are there, just, you know. But she would peel these apples and put them in salted water, you know, so they wouldn't turn brown. Now that I'm older, I realize that's what she was doing. You know, because I used to like to pick them out and eat them, you know, because they were still kind of salty, and I like that. And then she would lay them out like on something like a cheesecloth on like a table outside, and they would dry out. Now, I don't know how she was concerned about flies or whatever, but it didn't seem to be an issue. No. You know, but she would lay them out, and it would be on this big picnic table. Wow. And she would put this tarp down, and she would lay them out and dry them out, and then she would come back and bag them up. And bagging them up, that's what they would use to make apple pies and fried apple pies, because you can, I now realize, you can rehydrate things that are dry.
Wow.
Yeah, and you know, so that's what she was doing. And she was making apple chips, you know, like we buy in the store today. Yeah. You know, that's what she was doing. She was making her own.
Oh my
you know, I didn't, again, you know, I think I was like 13 when she died. But these are some of the things that I remember as a little girl, because I was always around her, that she did. And, you know, I think all of us have it in us. I think we have the ability to kind of think outside the box and grow our own, but we're just not accustomed to it because it's harder, takes longer, and like you were saying earlier, it teaches you patience. You know,
we're in a microwavable society with everything. We want everything instant.
Yeah, but I think this whole pandemic, I think in many ways has forced us to kind of slow down. Absolutely. You know, You know, and now, of course, as I did that, I'm thinking, well, can I grow on the other side of the yard? How many boxes can I put over there?
Mom gonna be in front of a whole magazine in 1 year, okay?
Hey, speaking into existence.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, but it has been a good experience for me.
It just really just warms my heart just to hear you talk about your grandmother. And is it great grandmother or grandmother? Great grandmother.
Great grandmother. She, I guess she probably at that time when I was growing up, she was probably in her late 60s, 70s.
Okay.
You know, but she was like part Native and I guess part African American or whatever. You know, everybody's a hodgepodge or something.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Everybody's a hodgepodge of something.
Yeah, it's not.
And most of our roots, regardless of where you're from,
it's native.
are the same.
Yeah.
You know. But
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But I remember, like, my cousin and I was talking the other day. And like I was telling you, I was always like around her. Mm-hmm. But I remember the different things she did. I remember, like, you know, her, you know, like going and getting like water from the spring when you were sick. Oh my God. Getting pure spring water. You know, things that, you know.
You don't even think about them.
No,
right?
like
they don't even really exist. They
don't exist anymore, probably. They're so polluted.
Yep.
You know, but I remember her doing that, you know, like when I was sick or had a stomach ache. You know, and I remember like my great aunt again. I remember she had she would come down and she had I don't know who sewed it or whatever, where it came from or what, but it was all this mint, and she would make cold mint tea in the summertime. And I remember telling my mother, you know, don't give them the sugar stuff that, you know, pop or whatever.
Yep.
You know, just like she would make a big picture of cold mint. And it was so good. I kept saying that I was going to make some for us and I just never made it. You know.
We have tons of mint.
Yeah. But,
that's what we have an abundance
you
of.
know, and, you know, things that you don't even realize that it's doing for your body. Like, you know, I didn't have allergies, you know, back then like I have now.
Yeah.
Or, you know, you just... But she would make these big batches of cold mint tea.
Wow.
She made a lot of stuff based on the stories that you've been telling over the years.
Yeah.
She was actually more of like a mother figure for my grandmother. My grandmother's mother died when she was delivering her.
Oh.
So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So she never knew. My mother never knew her mother. You know.
Yeah.
So she grew up being raised by her dad's mother and father. You know, my grandfather at the time, he was still alive, but you know, he was busy. He's doing things. Yeah. You know,
that may have been that Caribbean coming out doing things.
You know?
Them West
He was sort of all over. You know, he was sort of all over.
He got to the country and you know, acting a fool.
Yeah, he was in Baltimore. He was in New York. He was all over.
Oh Lord!
You know,
those
so
stories are so rich. They're
Yeah.
so rich.
Yeah.
It reminds me. I was in last time, or maybe 2 times ago, when I was in Mississippi. My grandfather, who I affectionately call Big Daddy. Yeah, he's loved that man. But like very like the same stories, Mom. Like the same stories, like, you know, fresh spring, you know, water.
Yeah.
Like they would be driving down the highway and you would see droves of people, you know,
Yeah.
just jumping out and just drinking like fresh water.
Wow.
He told me stories about how they would literally take a peach tree, like a limb to find like a water source, just because they had like that connection to that we don't have because we got technology telling us.
I'm really over
this and
technology.
that.
I'm starting to get
because
It's
over
like
it.
those stories are so rich.
They
that
are.
we need to.
They really are. I remember my grandmother, and because I'm older than my siblings, like a lot of things they don't remember. Like when I'm sharing these stories, like they don't remember because by the time they came along, they were so she had passed.
Okay.
And but my cousin and I was talking the other day, and I was talking about how she would go. She could identify certain trees.
Yes.
And she knew like certain ones where something about making some kind of sassafras tea. She knew how to
which
go.
ailments.
Yeah, for what ailments she knew how to go, and she would go into the woods and come back with this stuff. You know, you don't appreciate it as a kid, but you think when you get older, you start thinking how God, how clever that was. And even I remember her seeing her do this. She had a friend. I don't know if they would call it girlfriend, but she had this friend.
This acquaintance, maybe?
Yeah.
Perhaps.
She would visit. And the lady had, I don't know even how you say it, because I've been with her, visiting her. And she grew, I don't know, you can't say you don't grow it. She made honey.
Oh, okay. Well, she harvested honey. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She was a beekeeper?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I remember, I guess, my grandmother knew how to do that.
Okay.
Because I've seen and been amazed. I've seen her put her hand in, and
combs
out. Take that, put it with a jar, take that comb out and put a top on it like that and pull it out.
Maybe we should look into that next year.
I don't think so.
Shut that down.
Shut it all the way down.
And the bees are all swarming around. And I'm looking at her like scared for her, and I'm scared.
And she's okay.
And she's fine. Yeah. She would go in and she would put that cone, like you said, and that's the honey would just be dripping,
just oozing out.
Yeah, and she would put it in the jar, and she would put a top on it, and there's our honey.
Wow. That's raw honey.
Yeah.
Filtered honey.
Yeah.
Amazing honey.
Yeah. But she was like, my mother, not so much. My mother wasn't into that kind of stuff, but I remember seeing
She was a little.
She was more,
flowers.
She was like, she had a green thumb with flowers, but she wasn't interested in gardening and that kind of thing, or growing stuff like that. She liked to cook.
Okay.
But she wasn't interested in some of those things. And maybe, she was busy trying to raise us. So it was different. It was very different.
She was a single mother.
Yeah.
So she had her hands full.
I failed to mention this, but Mama Jacky is an amazing cook. Okay? Oh my gosh.
She can stand with the get down.
It's like one of those things when you get an invitation, you know you're going to be fed. You know I invite you to the cookout and you need to eat before you go over there. You don't worry about that when you come over here. Okay. You already know. Wow. So what are you looking forward to growing for the fall, Chae?
Probably
looking forward to in general with your...
I think, really, to be honest with you, greens. Like, I'm a huge green person. Like, collard greens, mustard greens. Yes. Like, all of the dark, leafy stuff I love. So I'm looking forward to that part of it.
Cool.
Yeah. Because I've never done anything actually like the fall. I remember Mommy sending us down there. Actually, Shannon and I lived down in South Boston for 2 years.
South Boston,
Virginia. Yeah. So, like, my grandparents.
You said for 2 years? Oh, I didn't know
when
that.
my grandparents retired, they sold their businesses and they went down back to South Boston, Virginia. And my grandfather, he had this idea of being a farmer. So he wanted to go back to his childhood roots, I'm assuming.
Yeah, you want to be a farmer and you're almost 60.
Honey child. So he invested all his money in because he has so much land.
Wow.
And we had cows.
Yeah.
John Deere tractors and all this land of vegetables and stuff. He went all out. Yeah.
Was this land that he had owned?
It was in the family.
Wow.
It was his family land actually. Yep.
Wow.
They were the one of the families down there that weren't sharecroppers to, I hate to say, the white man. They had their own land.
No, that's real talk.
Yeah.
Because my great grandfather was a sharecropper on white man's land.
Yeah,
most of them.
Or they leased them out
until they saved enough money.
Sometimes they leased them out. Yeah, sometimes they leased them out to them.
Right,
so.
That's how he took care of his family.
Right.
Yeah,
and sometimes until they saved enough money to get their own. That was just
history.
Yeah.
And it's interesting too. Like my grandfather, every morning he'll go out with the cows. Okay, this sounds so weird. And those cows knew exactly what time he was coming and when he was arriving and which truck he had.
Also smarter than us.
Those, they are. They followed him like deep down into the land, like the cows, because they knew that was him. So like cows are very smart creatures.
Old were you all when you lived?
This was before we went to middle school.
Okay.
Yeah, because we had the option. Mommy gave us the option. She was like, with me or your grandparents? And my grandfather promised me horses. Okay.
He sold her pipe dream.
He sold me a pipe dream. I'm not ashamed. He told me he was going to give me all these horses and all this other stuff. So I'm like, Mommy, sorry, but I want to go with the grandparents, okay? And we get down there. I ain't never get my horses. Not one horse. I saw cows.
But you all were living on the land with your grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I hated it then.
Of course.
I'm like, this is stupid.
Of course.
And even in
my
school.
Big Daddy had horses, and I found it so
beautiful.
fascinating that he
That's
had horses.
beautiful.
Like, my Big Daddy was like, he's like, you know, Southerner, like,
Yeah.
we got rifles in the house. Like, what
Oh,
y'all showing? Like, that is my grandpa.
Hold up.
All the way.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, we had
you
rifles
know,
too. And my
yeah.
great grandmother,
Yes.
at 80 some years old,
Yes.
there was something that she
Yes.
saw in the yard. She took that shotgun and shot the sucker that she saw in the yard.
That was amazing.
I was like, oh my God,
Yes.
her shoulder's gonna come. She said, let me see it. And
Yes.
she migrated to New Jersey. So I'm thinking
It's a
she's
whole
still like a little
level of
sick.
strength, man.
Something said, whoop.
And we ain't talking about one. We're talking
Nah,
about multiple.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right. And I'm trying to actually get my gun permit.
You should.
Yeah,
I'm definitely
I think
getting
all
licensed
black
to carry.
people or colored people need to get their
1000%.
stuff. We have to protect ourselves in our homes.
I absolutely agree.
I'm just saying.
But I did not know you all lived
2
in-
years, and then mommy snatched us, and she was like, no.
If you don't mind me asking, what businesses did your grandparents have or own?
My grandmother had a daycare
Okay.
from her home.
Okay.
Papa had a construction company.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually, in not too far from here, in Temple Hills.
You know, well, land is we.
It's
They're
very
main
vital.
story. It's very vital, but they're also, you know, black people were forced off the land
Yeah.
that we owned.
Yeah.
You know, land that was, you know, sold and taken away, and you know. Reservoirs built on the land, and
Yeah.
people getting paid pennies for that land that was
Yeah.
in the family for generations, and you know we own less than 1% of it.
Yeah.
Black people, like, we just don't own land, and it's crazy because this is how we lived, and this is how we cultivated.
We built this country, and
We built
keep
this
it real.
country. No, we built this country, and so the fact that we don't have access to the amount of land that we should, it's just crazy. Prices are going high. Commercialization is a thing where they're buying up land to build homes in commercialized areas because they, you know, just point blank, they don't want it used for agricultural uses. They don't think, you know, they don't see the value in it,
Right.
because obviously we're in a capitalistic society, and trust me, I believe that you make capitalism work for yourself. We got to make money, but that's just the world we live in.
Can I take it a step further?
Go ahead.
Most blacks or African Americans, or however you like to categorize yourself, are natives. So we are natives to this land.
Absolutely.
And they
Absolutely.
took that away from us because they don't want us to be tied to this land.
Absolutely.
So it's important and imperative for us all to get back to our roots
Absolutely.
of the land.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I definitely have a dream to own land in Mississippi.
So I know that's right,
I do,
girl.
especially-
You got to invite us down.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Actually, you need to just hold up. We
I
said
have
every
talked
time you
about-
say you're going to
I know.
Mississippi, I said I'm going to go. I want to go.
I know. You know, I literally, in my mind, I see this thing of like, I just want to invite like a core group of people down to Mississippi.
I would love to go.
meet my family.
Oh my God,
and
she
go
has such a loving family. You should see the
fishing.
pictures.
My family is like super
They're tight-knit.
sweet. We be playing dominoes right here.
Yeah.
Music out in the carport.
Right,
Like, that
right.
is my family, and they are just. I am like certainly like a reflection of my family
That's
because
beautiful.
they're just so like welcoming and just so warm,
Yeah.
and they just love people.
That's
you
beautiful.
know? So I love them. I have family in Mississippi, in St. Petersburg, Florida,
Oh,
in
wow.
Chicago. You know, so we got the Chicago in the house, the dancers in the house, you know, the techno, the line dancers.
I know that's right.
My aunt is like the line dance, like, you
I
know,
know
queen,
that's
like,
right.
everything. That is my
That's
family.
beautiful.
So, you know, I love how, you know, these conversations obviously tie in family, because family matters, our lineage, where we come from. And just, it's just a reflection of, you know, our ancestors that also came before us that, you know, paved the way. So,
Most definitely.
gosh, y'all are like the bomb even more.
Whatever.
It's just crazy because, you know, obviously we hold conversations about
Yeah.
other things just everyday life. But
totally.
we've never had like an intentional conversation about this, and then getting more into your family. And I've learned so much more, and I just love y'all even more for
Aw,
that. So,
thank you, Gemini.
thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it. I can't wait. Can I come back in the fall?
Girl, come on. You don't even need, just hit us up. I'm like, yeah, we'll be
Mama
here.
Jackie gonna have like, it's gonna be everything. Like I'm telling you, it's gonna be trellises.
Honey, it's going to be a little bit everything. I told her, I was like, in 2 years, let's get a pool. I'm just
Would
saying.
you be down for a pool, Mom?
No.
It's high maintenance. It's high maintenance.
Because of I'm a practical woman.
Yeah,
I'm not.
It's maintenance. It's a lot of maintenance. And it's money. It's like,
And what Chae doesn't realize, and I've tried to explain this to her, is that, that backyard has a lot of roots.
That's true.
So you would
Those
have
trees,
to
those old trees.
cut up all of that
And that's
to
a lot.
dig it out.
Yeah, never mind.
And to build a pool.
What about jacuzzi then? Let's
You can
start
do
small.
a jacuzzi, anything above. You know what I mean?
Start small.
Yeah, but see, right?
Jacuzzi.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I have a lot of self-care relaxation moments, and a jacuzzi would fit perfect into that.
Okay,
yeah. Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah. So I think that is, I think it is important. I agree with you, and I think that, I've never had any interest in this. Never.
Mommy was a diva, let me tell you.
I wouldn't go that far.
Yes, she was. No, she's trying to minimize it. She's a diva.
But I didn't have any interest in the soil or any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Now she's telling me about the soil, and so we got to work this in. We got to do this. She's on the internet all day researching.
I
Now so much information is accessible to us. I'm amazed that, with my people. I don't remember seeing them amend a soil or anything like that. I often think about wonder how they did that.
Well, Shannon and I will say this: we had to when Papa decided to have this big farm, we were the ones to actually work the stuff and treat the soil and work the soil for the farming. We actually put that groundwork in.
Wow. So
something that I'm excited. We had to break up the soil. We had to go out there and pluck the stuff. We had to do. My grandfather had us out here.
Fly on the wall.
Child.
Mama Jackie.
It wasn't pretty.
Honey,
Trust me.
he wake us up at 5:00 in the morning.
It wasn't pretty.
He's waking us up at
I've never
5.
had that experience.
Right?
I didn't do any of those things.
Our grandmother shut it down. She was
It's
don't
just
be
so
having
funny
it down
you
there.
say that because, even talking to my own grandparents, they talk about being woke up early in the
Girl,
morning.
it's a weekend, 5 a.m.
No,
Trying to get your clothes on.
5 a.m.
I'm like,
see the day.
Right.
hold up, Papa. It's not 5. It's 4:50. It's 4:50 a.m. on the weekend. Me and Shan be cursing them out in our little heads.
It's so funny.
It's time to get up now.
Yeah, he
Jesus.
was
And it was so embarrassing when they have company because we all have our farming clothes on.
Please, are there any photos?
I'm gonna have to. Okay,
I need to see.
You know what? It might be a couple.
And to see Shannon.
Oh, honey, she's still the same way. Even during that time, she was like, "Hold up, I got to do my hair." Before we step outside, it's 5 a.m. She's doing her hair.
Wow.
But yeah,
I'm sure now you appreciate the experience.
as an adult, when I was going through it, no. But
course
as an
not,
adult, I can totally appreciate it.
Yeah.
I feel like when I'm doing this stuff, I'm having a connection with my ancestors. So
Yeah.
it's on a deeper level,
Yeah.
because I had never even picked stuff from a garden.
Yeah.
I never had that experience. Like I said, my grandmother grew the gardens, but by the time I came along, she was much older, and my grandfather and them had passed on. So I wasn't picking anything. I remember one time I was little, and I had seen her go out there and pick stuff. So I thought, oh, I'm going to surprise her, and I'm going to pick stuff. And I didn't have an understanding of that. You have to wait for things to come in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I
You're out there picking up her stuff.
Yeah, just because you see a tomato or see a green, you pick it.
Right.
So I was all excited and went out there and I picked all the stuff that was not ready for harvest. And
Can I ask you a question, Melissa? Have you ever thought about, I know you're doing all these tours and stuff and getting, all this, I guess, docu-series or you want to call it. Have you ever thought about doing a book? Of your experiences? You should really consider that.
Well, I definitely have thought about doing this will definitely happen, a photo book.
Yeah.
That, because I believe, that's why, I appreciate you as an artist and a photographer, because I believe in the value of seeing humans and, us, especially us, and our richness and capturing that. Because I didn't see that in textbooks coming up.
No, at all. At all.
So to be able to document that in a book form, just to see these beautiful, vivid photos of mommy and daughter in the garden, or just black
some
farmers,
real life stuff.
And I feel this world is very faux most of the times, and now we are like digitizing how we look, and everything's a freaking coloring book. And I'm like, I want to see actual like people and hands in the soil. And I think
should
that's
actually
very
do that for
important
2021,
so that our history doesn't get wiped away. Like ever.
We need it desperately.
That's true. That's very.
When you started
very true.
this journey, I was very proud of you. It's like, yeah, that's Melissa. That's Melissa all day and then some. That's totally her.
I appreciate
that.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Well, ladies, this has been so great. Oh
Let's
my gosh.
toast.
Yes, clink, clink.
Thank you for having us. We
Aside
appreciate it. All right. Thanks for having us.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Peace, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. You can catch today's episode on fullserviceradio.org, as well as iTunes and Spotify. Be sure to follow Food Talks in Color, that's just the letter N, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for all updates. Are you an edible activist? Sure you are. Come join me on the show. Just shoot me a DM on the gram or connect with me at foodtalksincolor.com. And if you're interested in sponsoring this podcast, let's connect. Peace and blessings. And remember, in the words of Baba Tariq Adunu, there is no culture without agriculture.
Thanks for listening to this program on Full Service Radio, broadcasting and recording from the Line Hotel in Adams Morgan, Washington, D.C. Full Service Radio programming can be accessed live and archived on fullserviceradio.org. Our talk programming is available on most podcast apps like iTunes and Stitcher, and our DJ sets are available on mixcloud.com/fullserviceradio. Full Service Radio features over 30 weekly shows and over 50 local hosts covering every topic imaginable. If you want to be a guest or get involved, email us at info@fullserviceradio.org. Follow us on Twitter at FullServiceRDO, on Instagram and Facebook at Full Service Radio. Thanks for listening.